So since my mind is on money, having just paid the toll, I'll make another couple of random and probably pointless comments. But funny thing is the change in the coin change in these countries is, especially Peru and Bolivia, is extremely difficult to figure out what some of the coins are. You can't just look at it real easily and see a big one. So you spend a lot of time kind of staring at the coins. And when you're passing through one country and into another pretty frequently, you kind of hesitate as to what coins you're giving. But anyway, and they're not relative to their sizes and relative to the amount. You know, it seems like it'd be easier if like 100 peso coin was bigger than the 50 peso and the 20 and the 10, but that's usually not the case. Sometimes the smallest percentages are the biggest coin, and it's just not easy. So you end up staring at your hand full of coins for quite a while, typically at counters, which is kind of funny. But as far as other finances go, so far it's worked pretty well. Just using the ATM, getting the amount of money I need for a couple of days, and by that time you find another ATM. And I've got the Charles Schwab account, one of my 2 debit card accounts, and I've been extremely happy with it. I've read about it for years, but I was finally able to get one set up for this trip, and it's great. There's just no fees and nothing, and all your ATM fees are rebated. And I know some of the travelers I've met have gotten socked with some pretty significant fees on their ATMs down here. So occasionally you can find a bank that doesn't charge ATM fees. I don't remember which ones they are, but it's nice not having to worry about it, because every time I can punch that, you know, there's an extra 5,000, you know, soles charge for using the ATM. Schwab just rebates them back. So big thumbs up on the Schwab account, which is no news to a lot of people, but it's worked well for me. And speaking of that, I would suggest, simply from my paranoid streak, that you have at least a couple of accounts, and I would suggest with different banks even, so that if you lose one card, you know, or if one card's stolen, you're not getting hit from a single bank account or something. At least you've got a backup. And also, some of the debit cards for different banks are kind of funky, you know. I mean, they don't work in some machines, so I think it's good to kind of layer those sorts of things. And if you got one bank account with a bunch of money in it, I wouldn't suggest linking that to your debit card. I would suggest having a second or third account and just transferring a small amount in at a time. So just a couple random thoughts. And also Christine and Jules have had some trouble, because in Canada they've got a 5-digit PIN, and most of the banks, probably 90% of them, seem to have, of course, a 4-digit PIN, and they have had quite a few problems having to go to multiple banks before they can find one that accepts 5-digit PIN numbers. So it's not impossible to find them. It's just that it creates a lot more hassle. So I don't know if Canada is the only card with 5-digit or not, but just another random thought out there. If you do have one, you may be having a bit more trouble finding ATMs and banks that work down here. So just another heads up.